In the meantime, coming back home and talking about our markets and what institutions are doing there. In fact, as always on Tuesdays, acquainting our viewers with a new fund manager. This time around, we're touching base with Sohini Andani, who's fund manager at SBI Mutual Fund, to talk about the SBI Magnum Mid Cap Fund. Thanks very much, Sohini, for taking out the time to speak to us. Start off first, essentially, with outlining your portfolio strategy and what it means to be managing this fund.
Basically, we've been following growth as a strategy. We've been looking at long-term growth, which is visible to us with a visibility of 3 to 5 years, basically. And we've been looking for, this kind of a growth opportunity across sectors. Generally, businesses which are more capital light, not dependent so much upon the macro or the regulatory environment. And basically, the managements who have an capability to deliver on the growth size of opportunity, which is very large. So I think this is what we've continuously looked for. We invest both into the structural growth stories, and we also invest into companies where we see a positive turnaround in terms of, either they're coming out of capex or they're coming out of a big debt repayment or something like that. So those kind of things we really look for in the portfolio.
What's been the portfolio strategy with this fund?
So I think clearly the good stock selection that we've done in the portfolio, and credit goes to our internal research team. We have a large research team which contributes to the stock ideas. It's also important that what stocks we've avoided to enter the portfolio. So I think that has also helped in terms of keeping the portfolio returns intact. In general, I would say that our overweight stance on consumer discretionary staples, healthcare, agrochemicals, and some of the NBFCs, it played out very well for the portfolio, I would say.
What is the view on PSU banks now with the rate cut, and most of these banks are also passing it on with cut in their base rates?
So PSU banks, especially from a valuation perspective, they've become very reasonable, I would say, because of the sharp correction that the stocks have seen, and they were beaten down significantly. So from that perspective, they look fairly reasonable at this point of time. And only thing that worries me is that most of them, especially in the mid-cap side, will have to raise capital at significant discount to book. And that is something which is not very accretive to the existing shareholders. So I think that phase needs to get over before we can see a structural rally, though from a valuation perspective, we will keep seeing the bounces there. On the private financial side, I believe that a lot of growth has already been priced in, and it is already priced in that the asset recovery has to now come in. So one will have to watch for and see whether there are positive surprises or whether the things actually are more muted than what was expected. So kind of a tough call over there, I would say.
And what's the view on managing risk in a volatile market like this?
Managing risk, I think, is important at all points of time when we buy into these stocks. I think doing a due diligence before really entering the stock, taking care of the valuations, I think that is important. And also, as I said, that we lay a lot of emphasis on what management we buy into and what promoters which we want to stick into, and we generally buy from 3 to 5 years perspective. So that really helps us to kind of manage the risk and curtail any volatility in the portfolio, I would say.
Sohini, thanks very much for joining us and giving our viewers more details about SBI Magnum Mid Cap Fund and how you're looking at managing the fund's assets. With that, we'll take a break right now, but when we come back, get you some more post-market analysis.